Hello subscribers, welcome back to a live stream of Wizardry 6. We're going to be continuing where we were last time. And I realized that I missed a key. The key that I was looking for the bell area. So I'm going to go back and get that. Let's see. I think it's over. Is it this direction? Yeah. That's the wrong spot. Hazard area. Okay, looking down the tunnel, you spy some very strange-looking black women with white marks painted on their faces and carrying long spears and hide shields. One of the women suddenly points to your direction and they quickly vanish into the passage on the left. So we can't go there yet. But we are getting there. Let's use our harmonium and lute. Hey, Cosmos Scheiss, how are you doing? Haha, yeah, I am done stealing from the salesman. So I think this is the bottom of the belfry, if I remember right. Overhead, a cavern ascends up into darkness. Below, from bones, many small animals cover the floor. The discarded remains of the winged cave dwellers. Inspecting the scraps of bones for anything of interest, you note that there are shards of shiny metal and bits of glass. Obviously attracted by articles which glitter, it explains how the key lying at your feet was brought here. Awesome. Glad you're doing fine, Cosmo. Yeah, I'm doing well. Yeah, we're not completely stuck, but yeah, there is not a whole lot to do. I'll just put it that way. Okay. So now we can go up into the belfry area, which we were at earlier and couldn't progress onward. Actually, let's dispel undead here. Might as well. I don't think there's anything here, but we'll search. Okay. Hey Uso, welcome. How are you doing? He asks, would Wizardry 8 be beatable if you completely randomize races and classes, like potentially ending up with a lizard man mage or a hobbit fighter? Depends on what level you're talking about. If you're talking about expert Iron Man mode, probably sometimes, but not always. If you're talking without Iron Man mode, where you can reload the game every time you die, then yes, you probably could eventually beat it. You'd have to reload a bunch of times, but yes, I think you could. Iron Man mode is a completely different story, especially expert Iron Man. Cosmos says, similar in Hamburg, Germany, where you are. Okay, cool. They just start opening the bars and restaurants. Concerts are off for the whole summer, though. Gotcha. Hey, Gringo Steve, welcome. How are you doing? Okay. What does Iron Man mode mean? Cosmo asks. Iron Man mode means that when your party dies, the game's over. You cannot reload the game. You cannot save the game and reload like in a different position. Every time you quit the game, it does save, but it saves based on all your current status and everything and exactly where you're at. So when you reload the game, it puts you right back where you were. So you just, basically you can't cheat and keep reloading the game every time you die. No, the hardest difficulty level is expert. You can play any of the modes like beginner, normal, and expert in Iron Man mode. But Iron Man means you just cannot save the game and reload if you die. If you die, it's a permanent death. Yeah, it's a one-shot run through, yep. So when you combine that with expert, that's what makes it extremely difficult. Glad you're doing fine, Usul. Yeah, that would be a interesting way to have different combinations. Okay, let's see here. There we go. So now we need to go up to the belfry area. I'm not sure which one it is. No, this is not the right way. Let's see. This might be the right way. Yes, it is. Okay. Just trying to go based on my memory. Oh, sorry. I know I'm going too fast with the menus, but that's the advantage of not having a mouse. In games that are keyboard driven, once you get used to them, you can just fly through the menus. So I know you're missing some stuff with that, so apologies, but otherwise it would take so much longer. Okay, we're going to attempt to swing across. Uso says he's going to the restaurant tonight for the first time in 3 months. Oh, nice. Cool. I hope you have a good time. Yeah, we're allowed to order from restaurants. So we've been doing that the past, 2-3 months. We've ordered delivery. And, it helps the local businesses and, because a lot of the restaurants are going to be closing otherwise. They won't be able to afford to be open. So we've been doing that past couple of months. You can even pick up food here, but you can't go in the restaurant. You have to basically take it home. So yeah, we haven't been in a restaurant for quite a while either. Oh, Gringo says he admires the speed of the menu use. That's funny. I'm glad to please. Sometimes when you attempt to swing across this, it doesn't work. And you can't tell which side you're on because the other side looks identical. And every time you do this, bats come out. It's a good way to grind for experience if you need it. Hey Eric, welcome. How are you doing today? Ah, Gringo Steve's in Bavaria. Okay. There's no Oktoberfest this year, but beer garden's open on Monday. Cool. Yeah, yeah, I sure hope that most restaurants are able to survive. Okay, now we can use the bell key. Sweet. That's what we needed. Glad you're doing well, Eric. Oh, we're doing great. Thanks for asking. Uh-oh. Breaking into another language there. Let's see. Let's cast Divine Trap. X. Okay, so obviously that's noxious because it's got an X in it. Could not disarm it. The trunk contains a coil of long, heavy bell rope, which appears to be quite strong and useful. And it's very heavy. Let's try to offload a little bit. There we go. Now his encumbrance is good. Yeah, that was quite heavy. Attempt to swing across. Did we make it? Yes, we did. Okay, great. So now we can actually go to the next area. We're done with this inner castle area. Awesome. Okay, I got to figure out which way to go here. All right. Okay, so now we need to merge a couple items here. Heavy rope. And we need the steel hook. Hey, Bo, welcome to the stream. How are you doing? Bo says he's going to start Wizardry 6 for the first time after he finishes Avernum 1. Cool. Well, I hope you enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. Gringo says I'm streaming during German prime time. Well, that's good to know. Okay, so now we'll merge the heavy rope, steel hook. Yeah, Wizardry 6 is definitely one of my favorite all-time games. Okay, you are standing at the edge of a wide chasm, which gapes before you as if it were a gigantic bottomless pit. On the other side, you spot a group of the strange black women hurrying away from the edge and hauling a long rope made of vines after them. Heaving the hooked rope over the edge of the chasm. Is it chasm? Is that how you pronounce that? You succeed in snagging it onto a sizable boulder. Hanging on for your dear life. Oh, went too fast. Couldn't read it. Okay, we made it to the other side. I know there's a button somewhere around here. You hear some kind of strange sucking noise from somewhere nearby. It's a slurpy kind of sound. Something weird lies just ahead. It's just sitting there. Seems to be the source of the odd sucking noises. Cautiously, uh-oh, couldn't read it. Hydra plants and jungle vines. Okay. Eric thinks it's pronounced chasm. Yeah, I always wondered that, if it was chasm or chasm. Usul says, yeah, it's small but cozy and green. I guess he's talking about a city. Gringo Steve says, 90s RPGs were the best. Might and Magic, Wizardry, Ultima's Wasteland. Current games are way too hectic for him now, he said. Yeah, an AD&D. I'm going to be starting Curse of the Azure Bond soon, by the way. In case you missed it, I beat Pool of Radiance either yesterday or the day before. So I'm going to transfer those characters over. I may play one more stream of Pool of Radiance just to get a few more items. Because items do transfer, which is really cool. Like I don't know if there's anything good in Zen'l Keep, but I may go there and give it a shot. These things do some damage. Ooh, Crystal's paralyzed. Man, these things get a lot of attacks. Cosmo says he can't wait to see Curse. He never got a chance to play the day back then. Uso says oldies but goodies. He likes the late 90s and early 2000s too. Yeah. I haven't played a lot of those that you're talking about. Wizardry 8 was from 2001, I think, and I didn't play that until I think last year. It's either last year or the year before. It's like, man, I missed that whole time. Okay. Hydra plant emits white mist. Falls asleep. Oh, that's not good. I'll have to reload this with all my protection spells cast ahead of time. I wonder if Chilling Touch will hurt this thing. Energy Blast. Does that work? Did. Okay. Oh, cool. No, I did not play that. I'm not even sure how you pronounce that. Menzoberranzan. No, I have not played that. Usul says he doesn't play anymore, so he prefers watching others play. Eric says, shame that David Bradley wasn't part of Wizardry 8. Yeah, that's true. I think they did an excellent job without him being there, though. Yes. Hey, Jarpie, welcome to the stream. Jarpie says, didn't Bradley make Wizards and Warriors? Yes, he did. I wonder if Terror would work on these. Played Dungeon Lords 2 made by Bradley. He did not enjoy that, Usul said. Hey, Ochre, welcome. How are you doing today? Yeah, it does take a lot of time, these games. Yeah, and I do some grinding offline sometimes too that you guys don't see. It is a big endeavor. Yeah, let's just attack. Oh, so Terror didn't work on him. Yeah, I'll reload with all my protection spells. Glad you're fine, Ochre. Gringo says, yeah, he prefers to watch others play also. Currently focus on the Bob Ross of RPG. That's funny. Well, that's a compliment, because I love Bob Ross. Bob Ross is amazing. I'll see if I can run, and then I'll reload and cast my preparation spells. All it takes is one character to get away, but I probably won't be able to. I might just kill DOSBox. Yeah, let's just kill DOSBox. Save us a lot of time here. Okay. Doggone it. Oh wow, that time there's a lot less. There's only one Hydra plant. Okay, well, I didn't think I was that close to him. Well, I should be able to kill it now. Let's do Enchanted Blade first. I don't want to cast poison because you don't get experience if you kill it with poison. No, let's put the jungle vines asleep. Usul says the only game he plays occasionally is Europa Universalis 4. And Gringo says he only likes turn-based RPGs, otherwise it's too stressful. Usul says to me, do I know any other YouTubers, streamers specialize in old school RPGs? No, to be honest, I don't. Shot 97 will sometimes do some RPGs, some old school. He does usually the Amiga versions. So Shot 97, he's on here occasionally. You might want to check out his. And then Gamer Lon, Lonnie is his name. He has a channel called Gamer Lon. He streams quite a bit of old school RPGs like Might and Magic, and right now he's doing the Bard's Tale, but he's doing the remake, the trilogy or whatever it's called. Let's see. Saztam is actually doing a SSI strategy game right now. It's not RPG, it's strategy, but it is SSI. Trying to think of who else. I can't think of anybody else right now off the top of my head. Yeah, Bard's Tale 1 through 3, yep. Yeah, the remake trilogy looks pretty darn good. They stuck to the tradition of the original Bard's Tales, but the graphics they changed and made more modern, which I'm not a huge fan of, but it's not terrible either. It's fine with me. But they have an auto map now and some details where you can look in a logbook, and instead of having to know the cryptic spell names, it shows the real spell name, and then you could select it from a drop-down list, things like that. So that seems a lot better. Yeah, Shot 97 talks a lot about Amiga games and other things related to Amiga, so I'd definitely check his out too. He doesn't actually stream though. Gamer Lon streams, but Shot just creates videos of a lot of Amiga games, kind of reviews and memory type videos. But yeah, if you want to see streams, and actually, now that I think about it, I don't think Gamer Lon has actually done a live stream. He's doing Let's Plays, which are different. So live streams, I'm the only one that I know of that regularly does these classic games. Hopefully there's others out there doing it, but if there are, I don't know about them. All right, let's see here. I'm going to put this darn jungle vine asleep. Can't put the first one to sleep for some reason. Gee whiz. It's like immune to sleep. Hey Jake, welcome. How you doing? Jake's opinion, he says the best RPG made in the last 15 years is Pathfinder Kingmaker. Gringo says this stream turns out to be very helpful for searching for games. Well, that's good. Glad to hear that. I'll try this one more time. There, finally. Oh, yes. Killed it. So now we just got these vines. So this will be easy. Ilker says he disagrees with Jake, even though the game has good combat mechanics. Ilker says Divinity has both great combat and proper RPG experience. Writing, world building, all great. Usul says there is one huge and obscure rarity for Amiga, which is called Fate Gates of Dawn. Yeah, I never played Amiga because I didn't have one. It looks like an amazing platform in the day. Okay, we leveled up. Awesome. It'd be good to have haste. Let's get some haste going. And Jake says he utterly hated the writing in Divinity games. He greatly preferred Kingmaker. Well, that's what's great, guys, is, you know, everybody has their own opinion and everybody likes different things, which is excellent because that gives us all variety. If everybody liked the same things, it'd be really boring. So that's great. People have differing opinions. Yeah, jungle vines in a dungeon. I have no idea. Slime make a lot of sense. But actually work getting kind of out of the dungeon area very soon. So I could see them being in there. But yeah, earlier where they were at didn't really make much sense. And that's okay. Maybe there's like they're coming through the gates in the side of the dungeon and crawling through that way. Because there are gates. This menu causes eye cancer. Anyone tried the Banner Saga? Yeah, in case you haven't figured out, I'm pretty partial to Wizardry. The Wizardry series to me overall is the best RPG systems. And they made so many of them. But there are tons of games I love besides Wizardry, that's for sure. Okay, so here's the button. Easy lift down. What's interesting about that is you fall down and then you go to this area, which is actually a mountainous area. Is there anything this direction? No. So you can't tell by the background graphics, but we are in mountains. It says the tunnel emerges out the side of a mountain and into the open expanse of a titanic gorge. A network of bridges spans over the deep gorge. And far across the sky, you can see the jutting peak of a huge mountain poking up into the center of the great cavern. Let me make sure it can't go right first. Oh, now these things are a pain in the butt because the amount of experience you get for killing these is extremely low. And I don't know if they did that on purpose or if it's a bug. But these things take so many hits. And you get like nothing for killing them. Okay, have a good one, Usul. Yeah, 6 people hero party stopped by a bat. This monster is bad. It's a weird thing in this game. You'll see how little experience I get for this. 33. 33 experience. You get way more from killing vines and all kinds of things. So I don't know if they did that on purpose or if that was a bug, like they missed a digit. Maybe they meant to put an extra 0. Mana War. These are quite dangerous. Oh. Sheesh. Yeah, it is too bad that it has just a single tile set, Wizardry 6, but it doesn't bother me that much. I'm not into graphics that much. Whew. Layla's about ready to die. Oh, yes, killed it. Now, I don't think I have a cure poison, do I? Or did I buy one? Ooh, cool, I do. Let's see if I can cure her in time. She's almost dead. Whew, okay. Yeah, Bo, you're right. There are so many good enemy animation frames, no doubt. Good old EGA graphics, too. It's really amazing how much you can represent with just 16 colors. Oh, no, we're not doing this. I'm going to reload the game. That would have taken forever if I would have been able to kill him. Probably would have lost a character or two. For just like 100 experience. Before you looms the peak of a great mountain, and its many rocky crags and crevices bode a treacherous journey to the top. Okay, we're not ready for that area. We need to go back this other way. Blade spell really helped us out there. Okay, nice. Another level up. Let's get some more blades going. Hey, Liquid Mel Slime. Welcome. How are you doing? And Leandro's here. How you doing, Leandro? Leandro says that Manowar reminded him of the Beast of a Thousand Eyes in Wizardry 7. You're right. You're very correct there. Only the Beast of a Thousand Eyes is absolutely ridiculously strong. You have to be like close to level 100 to beat it. Unless you get really lucky. I always thought these guys were cool. That's impressive sound effects using the PC speaker. You have to admit that. Liquimel Slime says he beat the Beast of a Thousand Eyes with level 36 characters. Yeah, you can. If you keep reloading the game over and over. Which strategy did you use? Did you get, because you couldn't get a critical hit with that low level. You just keep healing. Yes. Heavy boulder. We actually need these for later, so that's kind of cool that I found one right now. Let's have Layla pick it up. Hey, Saztam, welcome. How are you doing? Was your ear ringing? I was just mentioning you on the stream. Liquimel Slime says he summoned the Godzilla and used all of his spells and healed a lot. He had 6 monks with good armor class. Oh, okay. So you just beat him down over time, huh? Let's cast blades. Oh, you're on a road trip. Okay. Watching the stream and your Tesla while it's charging. Cool. Yeah, I was just telling people that you've been streaming an old school SSI strategy game on your channel. I've popped in a few times when I've had a few moments. Okay, that's the easy left. That's where I came from. Okay, now we're going the right way. Cloud spells against the Beast of a Thousand Eyes. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's it. Sword of Aragon. Yeah, I've never played that. It reminds me a tiny bit of the one I reviewed. What was that one called? War of the Lance. It's not the same thing, of course, but kind of reminds me of it a little bit. I think because they're, both SSI. SSI always has a certain style with its games back then. Okay. You like it a lot, but it can get repetitive at times. Yeah, I had noticed that. That's how War of the Lance was. War of the Lance got very repetitive. It had some very cool features and ingenious, but yeah, you'd get bored. Wizard's Cave. Trespassers not welcome. Okay, this will be somewhere we go much, much later. Entering the mines. Protective helmets required at all times. Okay. Ah, we're not going to fight these. You get way too little experience. Okay. We're going to be looking for a dwarf down here. That's not the way we want to go yet. Oh. Okay, there's only one. What a rip. 33 experience. Okay. Let's see here. We're going to go right. Oh, it's a dead end. Okay. Yeah, this is good. This is one of those vine things. So let's cast Enchanted Blade. I think it's a rubber plant or something like that. Armor plate. Rubber beast. Jake says, shame there are so few sci-fi RPGs which you fly ship around. Yeah, that's true. There really aren't many. I think I'm going to be starting another stream with Star Command. That's a game where you can fly a ship around. There's all kinds of different upgrades you can get for it and stuff. And then you get out of the ship, and it's a role-playing game as people, too. It's a really cool game. I did a review on it, so I think I'll be starting to play that soon, along with the Curse of the Azure Bonds. Just adding to our list of streams. Liquid Metal Slime says, it's a little bit strange that you can use magic to strengthen your fairy to 22 strength points, but you cannot enhance the power of the lizard man to higher levels than that. Yeah, 20 is the max you can get in Wizardry 6 and 7. Eric says the mines was where he got to before his game crashed. Yeah, well, at least it crashed on you before you completed the mines. Because let me tell you, the mines are no cakewalk. They are very, very confusing area. But I think you got back into it, didn't you, Eric? The new party? Yeah, because you said you have the same layout as before. So I hope you have fun getting back to it. Jake says Mega Traveler 1 and 2 had that too, he thinks. Never played it, never heard of it. Okay, Rubber Strand. You only need so many of these. I think you need 4. But yeah, Star Command's got amazing equipment in it too. It's really, really well done. Graphics are pretty lacking, but the game itself is awesome. That's interesting. Acid slimes can poison you. Weird. I'm going to see if I can rest off this poison without dying. Whoa. That's some heavy poison. Yes. We rested it off. Oh, glad to hear it, Eric. Yeah, you're still in the castle. Space Rangers 2 is a very good multi-genre game, which you fly around a ship. It's been released as Space Rangers HD. Yeah, I just don't get into too many modern games. There's so many awesome retro ones that I just don't have time. Ooh. This is a scary battle. I believe these can make you go insane. Ah, which now that I think about it, I wonder if... Yeah, this Vaspus. I wonder if that's what Wizardry 8 Queen Ant drives you insane for. I wonder if it's a homage to this game. I never thought of that. Oh, you're right, Liquid Metal Slime. I'm out of... Well, I'm not out of them. I was throwing dirks with my left hand. Yeah, you're right. So now I just have the whip. So I can equip something in his other hand. Actually, he was throwing sticks, sparkling sticks. So yeah, I should have him equip something else here. In fact, let's cast Enchanted Blade and then do an equip. Okay, so he has all these dirks. Let's equip these icicles. They're really good. They do, I think, like 2 to 16 damage or something. So we'll use the bullwhip in one hand and throw icicles in the other. Sazdam says he's been streaming Starflight. He guesses that counts as an RPG. Not sure what that one is. Jake says Space Rangers 2 was originally released in 2004 or 5. Ah, okay. Finally. Ilker likes Starflight, he says. Yeah, I just used that. Let's use loot. I really need to give my bard some more musical instruments. Some more selection going. Wow, 4,400 experience. Nice. Okay, they're just the giant ants. Missed. Missed with an icicle. That's been a while since that happened. Really want to find Smitty the dwarf. He has some good items for sale in here. Hey Brad, welcome. How are you doing today? Doing great here. Here we go. This is Smitty. Welcome to Smitty's. I like how it says "ta." Welcomes to Smitty's. Forge and grill. Fine foods and fixins'. An old dwarf looks up from behind an anvil, where he is busy hammering on a red-hot piece of roasted corn, and says, "Dag nabbit, can't you see I'm busy? Sees I'm busy?" All right. What do you got for us here? Ginzu knives. 378 for 7. That's expensive. Pecte Corbin. That's good. Definitely buy that. Oh, and shurikens for Dane to throw. Man, those are expensive though, aren't they? Sai. Definitely get size, because we can take those to Wizardry 8, and you can't get them in Wizardry 8 normally. So I'm going to buy them, even though I can't really use them unless he hides in shadows. Oh, and a Naginata and a Fashard. Wow, he's got all kinds of awesome stuff. So we'll buy this for Crystal and Layla. I don't think the Naginata will transfer to Wizardry 8. Pretty sure it won't. Maybe it does. Gosh, I don't know. I know the nunchucks would. And they're cheap. We'll go ahead and buy them. Just carry them around with us. 15 for 360. Yeah, he's a crazy dwarf. So let's see. So these are like 15 gold a piece. Well, let's do it. I'll start queuing them up. The bards can use bullwhips? Wow, that's interesting. They're getting really good with their stones, though. Their slings. Okay, now. This can be primary or secondary. That is awesome. Up. Okay. Let's give this miner's pick to someone else. This is too heavy. There we go. Okay, now I'm not overloaded. So we'll come back and then he'll have other things for sale. Yes, Leandro, you're right. The Naginata is available. It's available also in Wizardry 8, but I think I might be skipping 7 and going straight to 8 once I beat this. And so I wanted to, get the ones that I know for sure is transfer to 8. Oh, thanks, Rod. That's funny. Glad you're doing fine. You'd like the weekend to be relaxed, but you have a lot to do, huh? Jake says we've never had Bob Ross in here. Maybe you should watch some of those. Bob Ross is awesome. Did you guys know he was a drill sergeant in the Air Force? Like, I'm not sure if you know what a drill sergeant is, but it's basically the guy that yells and makes commands to other people. And supposedly in an interview he said, why are you so soft-spoken? And he said that because I was a drill sergeant in the Air Force and I raised my voice so much, I basically promised that I'd never do it again. So that's how he was so relaxed. You can't transfer directly from 6 to 8, but what you can do, Leandro, is transfer from 6 to 7, then immediately save those and transfer from 7 to 8. You don't have to complete 7 at all to transfer. So that's what I was thinking about doing. I don't know if this transfers. I don't think it does. I better hang on to it just in case. Yeah, they did. They do yell a lot. Ilker. Yeah, I don't know what those are, Rod. Eve Online. That's a good ninja weapon. But again, he has to be up close. It'd be really cool for him to have two sais in the future Wizardry, so I'll buy another one. And then we'll get another Fashard for Layla. Or should we flip her over to some other type of weapon? She could start using a Bipinus. And with that, I think you can melee to do double damage. Should be really bad in the beginning, but the skill would go up pretty quickly. You can also melee with the Flamberg. That'd be sword. Let's go with the... Well, actually, there's also a Vulcan hammer this guy sells. I'll probably wait and give that to the Lord, because I think it's one-handed. But it's really expensive. Yeah, let's buy this. Trade with Layla. Okay, there we go. So yeah, her X is 0, but it'll go up pretty quickly. Hey Philip, welcome. How are you doing? Yeah, the Vulcan hammer, it's a really good weapon. I don't think it'll transfer though, I'm almost positive, to Wizardry 8. I had to try stealing from him too. I might be able to steal some good stuff. Let's see, Poignard. That's a weapon that can go in the other hand too. Lance. No. Let's try to steal. Let's see. She has the stealing ability. There we can melee now. $20 with the melee. Wow, she has a skill of 0 and she still hit. That's pretty funny. Yeah, that's correct, Eric. Wizardry 8 limits you a lot more when you transfer, which to be honest is a good thing, because when they give you like so much powerful stuff, like I transferred Excalibur and all the really crazy items to Wizardry 7, it just made it too darn easy, to be honest. Why are you fighting a stripper judge? Rod says. Not sure what you mean by that. Look what Mel Slime says. He missed the light sword and the light shield in Wizardry 8. It is in Wizardry 8. You mean that you couldn't transfer it? Because it is there. I got the light shield once in a treasure chest. I've never found the light sword, but I know others have. It's a random drop. Eric says, not that 7 is an easy game by any means, but he sees my point. Yeah, and it's not because of the battles. It takes so long to get through all the puzzles in Wizardry 7. That's the main reason why I don't really want to play through it again, since I had just done it in the last, like, less than a year, I think I did it. Hasn't been that long. Rod says you were just fighting a troll with a hammer. Oh, because they use gavels, you mean? That's funny. I see your point now, Rod. Yeah, you can transfer the light sword to Wizardry 7. Oh, okay. Liquid Mouse Slime's talking about transferring the light sword and light shield to 8. Yeah, you can't do that. Unfortunately, there's a lot of restrictions. Ethel's stolen item. Let's see what it is. A Zizka star. Hey, that's 490 gold. Cool. We'll see how much money we can make here doing pickpocketing. A lance. Sell that too. How could you pickpocket a lance? Just imagine that. You know, lances are, what, like 20 feet long? Close to that. Oh, don't mind me here. Just kind of secretly walking out of the room nonchalantly with a 20-foot long lance. Oh, that's silly. Anointed flail. He's like, hey, where's all my stock going? Major dwarf. Eric says, could you imagine transferring something that reduces your armor class by 10? Yeah, the light shield. That would just be so overpowered. Rod says in Skyrim you can steal people's clothes while they are wearing it. That's really, really dumb. I need to give the bard something because he's out of bullet stones. Ethel. Give her a whip. Liquid Metal Slime says he thinks Barry Allen alias the Flash could steal easily the armor you're wearing. Leandro says 5 characters were distracting the dwarf while the other took a lance from the weapon rack. You never know. You would think he'd be like, hey, wait a minute, something's missing as you leave. Ooh, critical hit. Rod says what he doesn't know about the Flash is how he's supposed to move around at Mach 1 and not damage the people at all. Yeah, anytime you have superhero stuff, you have to just assume the laws of physics do not apply and just ignore them. Because some of the superheroes are absolutely ridiculous with how much they violate conservation of energy with physics. And for me, that's okay because you just say, okay, it means there's magic. I throw it in the same category as magic. If you have magic, then you can say it bypasses physics. The laws of physics usually apply, but magic can bypass them. Now, if they try to be scientific and then they break it and act like it's not magic, then that's pretty cheesy. I think I'm going to get silence here so that I can start building up some spell points with the air spells. Because I think they can get whirlwind. Pretty sure that's a pre-spell. Yeah, in Star Trek they have an inertia nullifier. Yep. Okay, let's see. There's the Vulcan Hammer. It's 18,000. Let's buy a bullwhip for my bard. She'll start using those. Make sure they have it. Yep, Mason Flail. Okay. Oh, wow. What are these? Tricksters. Okay. Leandro says Daggerfall had a worse thievery mechanic. Force the door of a merchant at night, loot everything, then sell those items on another shop. Jake says he can't believe Obsidian passed on a chance to make Star Trek RPG in 2007 or 8. You make a great Star Trek game and print money. That's true. And Eric says the Vulcan Hammer's 18,000 worth every penny. It is. Rod says in Arena, if you are inside a house at night, there is a chance to summon those monsters that regenerate themselves. Were they trolls? I mean, how do those giant monsters get inside someone's house? Well, I guess summoning ability, you know, that's magical. Unless you're talking about something different. I know. I don't know if you can steal the Vulcan Hammer. I'm sure going to try. That'd be cool. Yeah, I think what I'm going to do with my... I've been figuring out what to do with Forteverse and lockpicking. And, you know, when you lockpick in games, it's very tedious. Most games, like if you take a Wizardry 8, for example, you know, you're just clicking on tumblers over and over trying to get them to go up and down. And other games, you know, maybe you're trying to click on some puzzle type things or something. But the more I thought about it, I'm like, okay, the character's the one that's picking the lock, not you. The character's skills what determines, so you shouldn't have to apply any effort. But something I've been thinking about for a lot of the skills I'm going to have that are grinding is making it where you have the option to interact as yourself so that you can influence it and get either more experience when you do open it, or you speed the process up. So like, let's say you have pick lock skill of 30. Maybe it'll take him an hour to pick a hard lock, and maybe he'll be able to eventually do it. But if you just let it sit there for that long and not touch it, you know, you could log out, come back, and then maybe the lock's picked. Or you could decide, hey, I'm going to click on some puzzles or do something that could be built in the game to either speed it up or give you more experience when you complete it, or make the skill go up faster. Then you have the option. You know, you could choose to either do something that could be considered tedious, or maybe only do it occasionally, and otherwise just kind of let time do its thing. And I'm thinking about that for all the grinding skills, like mining. If you're mining something, maybe having things you can click on, like almost like what are those called? Those heads that pop up, like whack-a-mole, what they're called, where you hit them like at carnivals and stuff. Like maybe having things like that you could do to speed up the process if you want to. Otherwise, just let the character do it. Then that way, you know, you get to choose how to play it. Yeah, that's right. It'd basically be like a mini game within the game, but it'd be completely optional. Eric says probably needs somewhere close to 100 ledger domain to steal something like the Vulcan Hammer. Yeah, I don't know. You never know. Stole some gold. How much did she steal? 1,000? She stole 1,178 gold. Wow. Yeah, this is going to be a good way to get gold. I'm going to leave and come back since I failed so many times. Liquimel Slime says if he is a shopkeeper in Wizardry 6 and the customer always loads and saves before entering his shop, he'd be suspicious. Yeah. Like, wait a minute. He just reloaded the game. Why'd he do that? Hammer. That's worth 5 gold. Let's try again. Got caught. Okay. Stolen item. Warhammer. I'm still going to keep it because I don't know if it's raising my skill level every time I do this. It may be worth it. I don't know if charm does anything before you try to steal, to be honest. In fact, I don't even know if I have charm. No, I don't. It works to improve reputation with them if they're aggravated with you. if it works for improving the quality. Stole some gold. 248 or 249 that time. Yeah, it definitely does that, Eric. When they're hostile or neutral, it improves reputation. That is correct. Stolen item. Ginzu knives, cool. I can actually save those for the ninja. I think the ninja can use them. Let me double check. Yes. Fighter, samurai, and ninja. Wow, lords and Valkyries can't use those. That's interesting. Fighter, samurai, and ninja. Wow. Let's see what's so special about them. They do 3d2 damage, so 3 to 6 damage plus 1 to hit. So they have a good low amount of damage they're guaranteed to do. That's interesting. That is an odd restriction. Liquimel Slime says he was surprised you could win the drinking competition with Captain of the Pirates. Yeah, if you have high, I think it's high constitution or vitality, you can do that. You've never won that, huh? Hey, Gauntlet, welcome. How are you doing today? Let me see what her skill level is. 25. I don't think it's gone up. I think it's remained that way. Light crossbow. It's 131 gold. You're doing, huh? Doing great. Yeah, Gauntlet was a good game. It was a lot of fun. The arcade especially. There's something special about arcade games because you know you're putting money into them. The fact that you have to put money in, get as much, squeeze as much as you can out of those coins, and then you got to decide, okay, am I going to keep playing? Am I going to put more money into it? There's something special about that experience. And I wonder how many of the newer generation never got that experience. Ooh, cool. 15 shurikens. No sound? What do you mean? Let's get these equipped. Oh, you muted it? What does Paris the Lord think about Ethel doing stealing? Obviously, he doesn't seem to care. Gauntlet says his cousin and him brought rolls of quarters. Wow, you got rolls, huh? That's cool. I used to just go up and bring like $5 or $10 and just get change from the cash register. They'd usually do that for you. Depends on where you went. Like, we had arcade games in just like gas stations around our house sometimes. We're definitely going to get that Vulcan hammer one way or another. Ooh. Yeah, Death Stars would be really nice to have. They're super rare in this game. I can buy another horn for the helmet. Yeah, you're right. Even Walmart had an arcade. I forgot about that. Yeah, they're angry because Ethel's stealing stuff. Critical with the shuriken already. This is a great way for Layla to get practice with her new axe, too. There's certain places in all these wizardries where it's kind of a safe area to grind, where you can have some cool stuff and a pretty good area to rest. This is definitely one of them. Stolen item, what is it? Roasted corn. It heals. I guess I'll keep it. There's 5 of them. Jake says they didn't really have coin-op games there. At least in the town where you grew up. So did they have games at all? Or like arcade games, you know, the big games? Or did it skip that whole thing in your area? Warhammer. Elker says, what was my favorite arcade game? I went through stages depending on when I found the arcade game. But the one I was most intrigued by was Dragon's Lair when I was a kid. I never did beat it because I was too young and it cost too much money. And it's extremely hard if you haven't played it. Especially when you're dumping quarters into it. So that was probably the most intriguing for me. I really liked Karnov too. Trying to think of what else. When I was really young, I liked Turbo. That was a fun game. What about you, Ilker? Oh, Leandro says he's rolling stats for Ranger on Curse of the Azure Bonds. 1890 strength, 17 dexterity, 18 constitution. Wow, that's really good. Jake says there were a few arcade games there, but they were pretty rare. Eric says Ninja Turtles and Final Fight. Yeah, Final Fight, that was a good one. Good arcade game, you're right. Gauntlet says, Dragon's Lair. He rode his bike across town to play it at Showbiz Pizza. Elker said you had to memorize the entire thing to win it. There was no other way. It's true. Plus, the reflexes you need was ridiculous. There were certain areas in Dragon's Lair where you had to have not just memorized it, but the reflexes. Just insane. Rod says in Argentina, they didn't have coin-operated games. They had shops where you get a card, like a gift card, and you could exchange it with money. Ah, you got tickets, yeah. Yeah, there's still places like that here. Oh, some nunchucks, okay. Well, I'll just sell them. Yeah, there's still places where you can play these little games and get tickets and win cheesy little items. Ilker says his favorite arcade game was probably Pang. Gringo Steve says Legendary Axe. Yeah, I remember that one. I got more roasted corn, hey. You'd play a couple games like Crocodiles, then a bit of Sega Rally with a steering wheel and all, Rod says. Gauntlet says his decision to buy an Atari ST versus Amiga was partial due to Dragon's Lair versus Gauntlet. Hilker says he loved Street Fighter 2 but wasn't good at it. Yeah, I loved Street Fighter 2 on the Super Nintendo. I didn't have an opportunity to play it much at the arcade. Yeah, it was a fantastic game. More Ginzu knives. Awesome. Jake says he grew up in a pretty rural small town. Shinobi, Gringo says. Rod says it was really fun as a kid, to be honest. He wanted to do something like that with his kids. Golden Axe, yeah. Stole some more gold. 400, nice. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. William says, hey, William, welcome. At the 7-Eleven down the street from your grandparents' house. I don't think I ever played that. Was it like an action game, William? Rod says he was thinking of making a QR reader app that loads a game in a computer with an arcade gamepad, and then they can exchange points for snacks. Whenever you have kids, you're still single now. Yeah, you're getting way ahead of yourself there, Rod. Stolen item. More nunchucks. It's pretty funny that you can steal a lance, but you can't steal a Vulcan hammer. The lance would be like almost impossible to steal. Oh, nice. More shurikens. Oh, wow. He's really overloaded now. Okay, we're going to have to get rid of some stuff. Let's see. Get rid of these fixed items first. There we go. Now he's yellow. And we'll sell some stuff. I'll probably get rid of that bow and arrow. There we go. Those arrows are weighing him down a lot. William says top-down action game where you have to find the exit to each level while whipping everything. Oh, okay. Cool. So that's kind of like Gauntlet too then. That's how Gauntlet was. Not whipping everything, of course, but attacking everything. That's right, Rod. Nothing wrong with having plans. You played a lot of Metal Slug on those arcade games. Yeah, you could call the ninja Indy. He has a whip. Eric says, hey lady, you call him Dr. Jones, my professional name. Rod says, what online multiplayer games did you guys play besides WoW? I played RuneScape. And let me think. I don't think I really played any other massive multiplayer online games. I played online games like, strategy types and Heroes of Might and Magic 6 and 5 and those online against opponents. But that's I don't think that's probably what you're qualifying it. I never played EverQuest. I would assume it was worth it. Oh, wow. Elker says he played a bit of Ultima Online and WoW. Oh, I did play Ultima. What? Some guy remade Ultima 6. Ultima Online, he called it. I did play that for a while. I forgot about that. Ultima Online's free now, so you want to try it out, then go for it. Let me ask you guys a philosophical question. So what do you think would be an acceptable chance for someone to hit an enemy if they were swinging, let's say, a sword, and let's assume the other person is armored. Let me redo this. And they're not expert fighters, but you're kind of a novice with a sword. Like you're not skilled with it at all. And the other person is just, an average person. What do you think the chance would be that you could hit them with a sword percent-wise? Hey, Cosmo. Yep, still at it. Rod says, well, you'd have to take into this account. If you hit him but don't deal damage, do you count that as a hit or a miss? I count that as hitting him. Okay, we'll make it easier then. Let's say that he doesn't have armor on. He just has clothes on. A novice swinging a sword at someone who's trying to dodge. They see you coming. You know, what do you think the chances of hitting them would be? Cosmos says he thinks the chance to hit would be high. It's just the question if you land a seriously damaging blow. Eric says based on strength and high hand-eye coordination, really. Ilker says, well, it's easy to hit a person with anything. And then Gauntlet says 50% actually penetrating armor. Yeah, give me a percent chance, guys. What do you think an untrained person swinging a sword at someone else who's trying to dodge would be? The chance of hitting them. Any kind of hit. You know, even if it's just like a tiny cut or something. Rod says he says about 60% or 40 to 60%. Cosmo says, yeah, 60% seems reasonable. Gringo says 100% under these conditions. Ilker says as long as you don't try to attack wildly with big swings, you'll hit at least 80% of the time. And Eric says, does the other person have a shield or are they armed? Someone that's unarmed, just trying to dodge. They have no shield, they have no armor. You're just swinging at them with a sword and you're untrained, remember, you're just a noob. And you're trying to hit them. Ilker says, have you ever watched close combat training of special forces? Not special forces, no. Well, it depends on what you mean. Unarmed, yes. But not with weapons. And they're trained. You know, they're trained. I'm talking about an untrained person swinging at someone that knows what's coming with a sword. Not a knife, a sword. Gringo says he had hit someone, though totally incapable. Cosmos says it also depends on the sword and its length and weight, because it might be too difficult to control. A short light sword might be easy to control, but easier to dodge. How high is their dodge? Just like an average person, like imagine you trying to dodge when someone's swinging something at you. You know, and you're not trained like as a boxer or anything with good dodging skills. Just a normal person against another normal person with unarmed or untrained with a sword. And Eric says he thinks 75% on the conservative side. Bo says it's not hard to step out of the way of a baseball bat swing, so like 30%. And Gringo says sweep sideways. Rod says 2 types of attacks. He tries to hit like it was a Zorro direct attack. Then he'd say, yeah, that's like a thrust. Then he'd say 30%. But if he's swinging it side to side, then maybe 50%. Ilker says what he's trying to say is in those videos, people just throw themselves on specially trained people and score hits. Oh, so the ones with the knives are untrained, and yet they're hitting trained people easily? Yeah, it is a philosophical question. Gauntlet says dodging unarmed, probably 65%, considering it's not to have a high dodge skill. Elker says it's very, very hard to avoid bladed weapons. Green Ghost says on the receiving side he would run away. He's good at that. Yeah, unskilled is the key word. That's right, Gauntlet. And Rod says his reasoning is when he attacks, he tries to keep his distance from the other guy so he doesn't actually back or attack back. So some attacks wouldn't really hit him. Green goes a survivalist, yeah. Ooh, monstrance. That's cool. Got a little bit of gold out of that. Gringo says, though, keep in mind we've all trained 20 plus years in PC RPGs. What do they call that? Armchair warriors. Armchair sword fighters. Okay, let me throw a curveball now that I've kind of got everybody's feeling on that. What about a two-handed weapon? So you're not swinging like this with one hand. Now you have a big two-handed sword, and now you're trying to hit someone that's just trying to dodge, and you're untrained. What is your chance now? Instead of one-handed, I'm talking about two-handed now. Anointed flail. Yeah, no, I've watched a lot of medieval fights. The problem is a lot of those guys have experience, so that's why I'm not using that as references. I'm talking about completely untrained. Gauntlet says, if AI, you have to consider if AI knows D is playing. That's funny. Jake says he also thinks it depends on how good the average person are at doing physical stuff. If either one is at least somewhat competent on physical stuff, then they have a better chance of hitting or evading. Exactly. That's very true. And Eric says for the two-handed, 25% at best. Wow, we just stole 1,065 gold. Awesome. I need percentages, guys. Cosmo says he thinks with a heavy sword it would make much harder, 40%. Bo says he thinks speed strikes and grapple is more difficult than large slow weapons if you're not trained. Cosmo says, although the katana is technically a two-handed sword, just a very light one. The question is, what's the chance of hitting an untrained person dodging with an untrained person swinging a two-handed sword? Before, I was just talking about one-handed sword. Now I'm talking two-handed. Bo says 15% was something heavy and slow. Gringo says 100% because he'd run away even faster. And Jake says 50-50 with a tongue. There's reasons I'm asking these questions. Ninjato, cool. Rod says if you consider the guy is using a heavy sword, which he has to grab with both hands because it's heavy, you'd say 50% to hit with a side-to-side, untrained, 20 to 30% to thrust. Cosmos says, yeah, maybe more like 33%, 1 in 3 chance. I think it'd be easier for the guy to jump out of the way. More shurikens, nice. And that's just taking time for each attack, 3 to 4 seconds, Rod says. Gringo says, since cumbersome, less than one-handed, 30%. Gauntlet says he would drop percentage by fixed range for two-handed. Cosmos says, is this for Forteverse? Yes, it is. But it's also to explain how I think a lot of games has it wrong and why a lot of RPGs are kind of weird about classes that can't use certain weapons. Like a mage, a wizard can't use a sword in most games. You know, they're restricted to like a quarterstaff and a dagger. Okay, well, let's say the wizard is completely unskilled with a sword. Why could they not use a sword? Why could they not equip a sword? Ilker says he doesn't see himself hitting anyone with a Zweihander. Yeah, exactly. That's another part of my point is there's a big factor with hit ability with weapons based on strength. Your strength should impact the weight a lot, but not if you're unarmed. That's the ironic thing is basically strength reduces the slowness of a heavy weapon, but it doesn't necessarily increase the chance to hit with it. It just, I'm not saying that right. A really skilled swordsman versus using one-handed, a light sword, versus a really strong, barbaric, untrained swordsman. Who do you think would be more likely to hit the target? The really strong, muscular barbarian that's unskilled with a sword, or the skilled swordsman that's not very muscular but has years of experience? Cosmo says, do you plan to do some in real life sword work? No, I don't. And Eric says, of course, the skilled man would be more likely to hit than the barbarian. Jake says if you have enough strength, he thinks heavier could actually be easier to control. Rod says much of the time they've been fighting and after so attempts to hit. Most people don't have good physical condition, so they get tired. Yeah, now you're talking about stamina and stuff, which is a completely different area. But yeah, you're right. As stamina goes down, you would get weaker. Thus, the strength factor again. And Cosmo says the D&D line was that lots of heavy metal interferes with spellcasting. Yeah, but even leather armor. A mage couldn't use leather armor. So they tried to say that, but I think there was something else going on there. Because leather's not heavy compared to metal. Rod says, can he just recommend something? A magic user trying to use a sword wouldn't be as confident. It's a life or death scenario against a monster. So it's a bit of a psychological battle as well. That's true. But that doesn't mean he couldn't try and equip it. But yeah, I get your point. Ilker says skill is greater than muscle. And Bo says he agrees. It's about speed, strength, mobility, and avoiding a grapple. Skilled swordsmen can negate a grapple with defensive thrusts and sweeps. Gauntlet says you have to take into account if the attack was an unadvertised saw Conan O'Brien clip of a guy attacking him with a marker while he was explaining there was no reaction, expect back up. Yeah. Leandro says katanas are useless in the hands of an untrained person. So yes, you guys are making some great points here. And I'm including all of these ideas and things into Forteverse about your strength affecting your armor and decreasing your movement loss and agility. The stronger you are, it decreases the penalty, basically. But it doesn't necessarily make you suddenly go beyond what you can normally. So it helps you eliminate penalties. So if you have a huge sword that's real heavy and you're untrained, you're going to have a penalty with it. Even if you're trained, you're going to have a penalty with a two-handed sword if it's too heavy. So there's certain times where being stronger will overcome a skill with a certain weapon. Like imagine a sledgehammer, and you're really skilled with swinging swords, and you try to pick up a sledgehammer to use it, and you're weak. You're not going to be able to swing that sledgehammer. Yet a big bodybuilder could pick it up and swing it unskilled, and he'd be more likely to hit you. Yet if you have a lighter weapon and the skilled person, it's within their range where they have no penalties, they will hit you, whereas a bodybuilder could miss because maybe they just don't know the timing. There's a lot of factors involved. So it's going to be so fun to see all that act out in combat and make it more realistic. So yeah, a wizard will be able to use a sword if he wants. And so that's where I'm trying to get people's inputs on chances to hit, an untrained person when you're untrained versus someone that has pretty good dodging because they're, a trained, seasoned warrior. And anybody should be able to use anything that's non-magical. And you may just have penalties under certain conditions, but so the other thing I'm trying to figure out is length of weapons makes a difference too, and the type of action. Because like Rod was saying earlier, when you thrust with something, that takes a lot more skill unless you're really, really close. Like if you're right on someone, anybody could stab someone with a knife. Zero skill. But if there's a distance between them, the farther you get away from the person and the closer you get to that weapon's max range, the chance to hit drops drastically. So there's just so many interesting and fascinating things about combat that I don't think a lot of RPGs deal with. I just can't wait to include all that. I've included a lot of it already, but over time I'm going to keep optimizing and Rod says he would for sure let him use a sword if he wants to. Could he hit a bottle in the air with a sword in a normal situation? Yes. Could he hit a cockroach when it starts flying towards him? No. 20% chance. I doubt that. With a sword? If a cockroach is flying at you, your chance of hitting that, I would think, would be next to nothing. Probably like less than 1%. Cosmo says he also disliked all the classic D&D class restrictions. Yeah, exactly. Now, the cleric's blunt weapon thing, I could see if they're doing a philosophical thing. Like they don't want you to draw blood. So it's a philosophical reason why they can't use it. Okay, I'll accept that. But for someone to not use something because of a physical limitation, to me, the only thing that would limit you is the hands you have, the number of fingers, number of hands, number of arms, your strength, your speed and agility, of course, because if you have no agility, then you're going to be so slow you'd never be able to hit anything anyway. Cosmo says he also doesn't like the rigid class system much. It'd be better if there were all skills-based, no classes. Yeah, the problem with that is you get, with a 6-character party, you get a big... It all just starts to look the same. It becomes like a big mush of characters and no one's specializing. So I definitely understand why there's character classes and that kind of thing, which to me is good, but you should always have a way for someone to switch a class. So basically you're focused on a certain area and then later on you change focus. So over time, if you don't train those skills that you used to do, they will decrease, and that's true of real life. If you quit doing something, you get worse at it. Bo Stout says Excalibur movie had some good armored fight scenes. Good points about speed, strength, and mobility. Knives are dangerous. Oops. Dane stole an item? That's hilarious. He has like no ledger domain. What did he steal? He stole a lance. He's unskilled and he steals a lance. Cosmo says, how many metrics for hit probability am I going to have? I have a lot. I already have probably about 8 with melee and ranged weapons. But spells are different too. Spells have some hit metrics, and they're different than the melee and range. In fact, all ranged and melee, there's some overlap, but there's some differences there too. The ranged weapons have more hit factors than the melee, but there's still about 8 on the melee at least. Gauntlet's epic RPGs on the back burner until we get something simpler. Yeah, RPGs can be very complex. Rod says we meant to say that happened to him was he had tried to kill a cockroach. He, at the moment, being just scared, knows his ability to aim is lowered a lot. Oh, okay, see what you're saying. Yeah, that's true. If you get frightened by something, that definitely decreases your skill. Cosmo says, dude, warhammers and maces are brutal, smashing in skulls and rib cages. Yeah, I agree with you. No, I'm not saying that they're not blunt, because I've even commented on my stream about that. I'm like, a mace is got spikes on it, and you either have flanged maces, which will cut the crap out of something, or you have like morning stars that are spiked maces, which will puncture and cause all kinds of blood. But that's the reason why D&D said that. That was their claim was, well, they don't want blood to be drawn, so they use blunt weapons. Because even a sling stone, if you hit someone with a sling stone, that's going to draw a lot of blood. Hit him in the head with that. Jake says it's a shame that people still see martial arts as an Asian thing. There are known manuals for fighting written in Europe during the Middle Ages. Yeah, absolutely. I don't think people think that anymore. But yeah, you're right. They definitely thought that a lot in the past. Cosmo says he thinks there were some historical order, Knights Templar or something. Church forbade them using edged weapons. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, isn't that funny? Eric has stole another lance. And I stole it with a guy that had like, what's his ledger domain? Let me look. 0. And he stole it. He had a 0% chance. Well, the skill level 0, and he still stole a lance. It's the ninja walking off with this giant lance. Gringo says warhammers and mazes are nothing compared to a level 90 monk. Yeah, talking RPG. Yeah, the monk in Dungeons and Dragons was very interesting because they made him like a superhero. Where he could do like ridiculous damage with martial arts. And he could like fall like 100 feet if he's like next to a smooth wall. He could fall 100 feet and take no damage. It's like superhero stuff. That's the superhero of D&D, is the monk. You wonder if it's a bug with stealing the lance. I don't know. It's pretty funny. Now I have 15 roasted corn. Let's see how much money I have. I've been blabbing so much, I really haven't stole that much. I have 8,200. Yeah, it doesn't look like I'll be able to steal the whatchamacallit, the Vulcan hammer. I'll probably just go fight things and get a bunch of money that way. Gringo says Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan proved it to be true, though. Rod says he doesn't remember all the stats in Fortiverse, but a willpower stat or something that makes a character determined to help his friends would make a difference in magic using a sword. Yeah, I've actually put most of the attributes on the website now. If you go to forteverse.com, I've described most of them. So you can see how I currently haven't been used in the game. But they're definitely subject to be changed and added to. William says a lot of RPGs make stealing based on an item value rather than weight. Yeah, you're right, William. That's probably what's going on here. Because so far, I think the most I stole was the Ninja Toe, which is worth like 800 gold to purchase. It's rather silly that they do that, but that is, I think, what's going on here. Rod says, my friend is about to get killed next to me. I'll try to hit the kobold with my sword. He sees that as something that could happen. Smithy is acting way too aggressive. Yeah, he's hitting the ground with his hammer. Stole some gold. How much? 620. Nice. We're at 8,900. Rod says the idea of a magic user not having a two-handed sword is just because it would be too cumbersome. But see, again, you're making an assumption. Because you could cast a strength spell on the wizard. Or maybe the wizard's just a goofy one and he decides in Forteverse to be a ogre wizard. Then he'd have a huge amount of strength. Wouldn't be able to cast anything, but he'd have a lot of strength. Why am I robbing him? Because I'm trying to get enough money to get the Vulcan hammer. And it's a very slow process. I could go out and attack things. Yeah. Probably the best way would be to figure out some of the AD&D rules would be to find interviews with Gary Gygax, see if he was ever interviewed, and people asking him those questions. Like, so why did you do this? Why did you do that? See what his answers are. Okay, let's just go fight some stuff. That's been enough of that. Man, this place is such a maze. I think this is where I came from. Drawbridge, control panel, pressed open. Won't come open. Oh, yeah, this is where we use our mystery oil. Sorry for any spoilers here, guys. But you are watching me. Inside the control panel are 6 tiny buttons, each with a tiny label. Some instructions engraved on its face are as follows. Caution. Safety detachment required prior to inchoate winder advancement. Do not activate coil wrap until a wait of 5 seconds post-pump necessity over safety interdigitation. Truss ascension may follow, but under no circumstances should fall extrinsic to pump and winder immurement. Final winder engagement induction for drawbridge facilitation. It's good to know that the engineers responsible for the bridge wanted its operation to be as accessible by anyone and thus took the time to create such specific instructions in that unique way that only real engineers can do. Ah, you gotta love the comedy. Oh gosh, I don't remember the order of this. Let me look it up. Let's see here. I did the order in which it told me to do. Oh. No, that was the wrong order. There we go. Nice. Ah! What happened? Did they move forward? That was weird. I don't know if that was a mistake or if I bumped when I was doing an alt tab, if I bumped the thing to move forward. Sometimes my guys will go. I think that might have been what happened. Well, that was rather annoying. Yeah, that's true, Leandro. We could go to one of those healing fountains. In fact, there might be one around here if I'm in the right one. Jake says there was an RPG being made in the 90s, which was designed and written by Gygax. It's being developed by Cyberdreams, who made Dark Sea Games. They had bought a 3D engine from a couple Finnish guys and hired them to work the game as well, but it was never released. That's too bad. Oh, my pleasure, Rod. Yeah, I love getting people's opinions on those kinds of things. So basically what I gathered from that is what the one-handed versus two-handed makes a big difference with chance to hit. And strength does too. So here's one of those fountains. Yeah, this will be good. Let me see if I encounter anything here. If I spin around. Jake says it was going to be called Hunters of Ralk. Do you include animation lag to make an old game look authentic? Probably just to emulate. I'm not sure what you're asking there, Gauntlet. Rod says, what do I think about lances? I think you call them pikes. Well, lances, to me, are used in jousting. So they are used when you're on a horse. Now, pikes are generally, you know, really long spikes, like on the end of spears, essentially. They're like long spears. The lances don't make sense to me unless you're on a horse. Pikes do make sense on the ground because that's what they were designed for. Like lances are real heavy and they're kind of not super sharp from what I know. The ones that are, you know, still are real heavy, and you hold it by your side and basically you let I'm no expert, I'm just saying from what I've seen. You let the horse do the work for you, and then at the last minute you kind of do your thing. So that makes sense for riding a horse or some other kind of mount. The pike is more like in big battles where there's like a wall of pikemen and others are coming towards you. It would be a completely useless weapon once someone got past the pike point. You'd have to drop it and then use something else. Unless you could keep them at bay somehow, then the pike makes sense. But I do have in Forteverse a minimum range on certain weapons. There's a max and min. And so like let's say you have a pike and someone gets within the minimum range, then that you can't attack with that weapon again unless you can move back and then attack. Otherwise you could just flip over to some other weapon. And like I said, a lance you'd only be able to use on a horse. Oh, Gauntlet says bad joke regarding the animation stalling. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's the emulator on this case. It is the old game. Rod says for him, the chance to hit would be way lower damage as well because it would be piercing damage. They get the benefit of being from a distance. Well, piercing damage, you know, piercing will go through armor a lot better. And, you know, if you got stabbed with a pike and it went all the way through you, you're going to be dead. So that's the other thing is RPGs aren't realistic, obviously, because most normal people, if they get stabbed with a sword, they're going to die. If you get chopped right across the neck with a sword, you're going to die. If you get hit in the head with a mace, you're going to die. But that's just not how the RPGs are. You die too quickly. You'd constantly be having guys die. So you have to put some things in there that aren't realistic. And, you know, pike's one of those. Same with lance. It may not have been super realistic, but in concept, it's kind of cool. So you kind of want to make it somewhat realistic, but you have to alter it a little bit. Okay, Eric, we'll see you later. Have a good one. Yeah, and with ranges, your chance to hit with a ranged weapon decreases the farther away the enemy is. Which only makes sense. And in some games, they have categories. Close, middle, and far. And I have it decreased linearly. So, you know, you get out a lot farther. It's going to be a lot lower. If it's in the middle, it's like half your loss. And, of course, there's going to be exceptions to that. But in general, that's how it works. Yes, would you allow high-level fighters to aim for a body part, like trying to cut a head? Actually, there is a skill, yes, called targeted attack. And one of the classes has that. First of all, there's vulnerability attacks, I'm calling them. Wow, these things are tough. which are kind of like critical hits. They're more realistic than the traditional critical hits. But then there's a class that has the ability to target areas. And then the bounty hunter has a knockout attack, because they're used to having to abduct someone and take them with them, you know. So they can do a knockout attack which aims at the head of the person. And if they're using a blunt weapon, then they can hit them there. But I think it's the monk that has targeted attack ability. And then swashbucklers have a disarm ability, where they could actually disarm an opponent, you know, get the weapon out of their hand. And then samurais have a slicing attack, which is a special way to attack to cause bleeding. And it's kind of like poison. You know, if you get poisoned, you take damage over time. Well, bleeding causes damage to your circulatory system health over time. So you'll eventually die from bleeding to death. So yeah, I've included all kinds of different things that a lot of games don't really have that I thought would be really cool. Gauntlet says the 300 Spartans walk through maze untouched. Yeah. Got some dwarves. Critical, nice. Could sell that. See, the game speed's going so fast that those spells wore off like instantly. If you play this on a real DOS machine, it doesn't run anywhere near this fast. The emulator is making it go super fast. You wouldn't be able to spin as fast as I did right there to get encounters. I was just spinning in circles so that I could try to get some encounters. That's a way to do grinding in this game. Yeah, normally when you rest, it's a lot slower too. Actually, let's do some blades. Get a little practice here. Well, guys, I think probably going to be calling it quits here. Obviously, I got some grinding to do. So it was a lot of fun. A lot of good chatting today, guys. I appreciate it. So thanks again, and I will see you next time.